Hi everyone, we're educators from Forrest Run Public School and we're here to talk about the launch of our Passion Project for Modern Learning.
So our student learning outcomes are to promote the development of metacognitive skills for students, so help them manage their own learning and emotions, and to promote self-awareness and self-directed learning.
It's really important for us to marry um, modern learning approaches and our goals of the project with social emotional well-being and social emotional learning. So some of the student learning outcomes we are looking to promote is the development of metacognitive skills, considering how students are managing their own learning and emotions, as well as to promote self-awareness and self-directed learning.
In terms of student learning behaviors, we've reflected on what it looks like, sounds like, and feels like. And some of these things include high levels of engagement from students, developing research skills and ownership of learning, utilizing resources, persevering through challenges, and developing their collaboration strategies. We hope that students will have a growth mindset and engage in purposeful dialogue and using a common language.
So in terms of helping plan this project, we've had some time to collaboratively plan with coworkers, and we had time to allow the gradual release of responsibility, and this is still ongoing in our class. We've also planned curricularly, like through science, language, media, and we ensure to teach students how to do some research and have a variety of resources available. And it's been interesting because we've had to learn how to accept the unknown and to be more open-minded.
In terms of educator learning, we have a deeper understanding about social emotional learning as well as the inquiry process in general.
Some of the monitoring strategies that we have and will continue to implement in terms of student learning is observing student behavior, conferencing with students regarding their topic, and supporting the development of their guiding questions. We're collecting student work samples and providing student feedback through Google Classrooms on assigned tasks. That's been really helpful in that we can provide on the spot feedback. In terms of teacher practice, teachers are engaging in self-reflection to inform their planning and dialoguing with each other frequently.
Some of our barriers that we've encountered are a lack of resources within the school, including technology, time to allow a gradual release of responsibility at individual students' paces. Sometimes embracing that flexibility, the unknown in terms of time and what will happen the next day, as well as the direction of student-driven learning. Sometimes we have those early finishers where we question, how do we extend the learning? How do we push students to think even further? As well as how do we move away from a written type report that students may be accustomed to something more purposeful and action driven.
Here's a list of resources that we have used. We've looked at inspirational videos such as Kid President and Audrey Rube Goldberg's Monster Trap, and it's important for students to see other kids shining and doing something with their passions. We've also looked at some Shanker resources and Hattie resources.
In terms of the learning process, we've participated in the project launch, check-in, and consolidation. We've had release time within the instructional hour to plan with our colleagues, including our administrators. We've conducted research by exploring various websites and books, as well as project samples from other schools, both within our neighborhood and outside.
So some of the next steps we're thinking about is how to promote self-monitoring of the learning by asking very specific and intentional questions. Those being, what are students learning? What, or I should say, what am I learning? What is the student learning? Why is the student learning this? And how do they know that they've learned it? So really focusing on developing the skill set of students to articulate and help them communicate what they're thinking, what they're learning with others. We're considering recording students before, during, and after to document their journey so that they can use it as a tool for the next time they're engaged in this type of learning. We're co-creating criteria about how to respond to questions, and a specific strategy that we're exploring is the bad idea factory, where students get to brainstorm bad ideas to help them establish a safe environment for developing and sharing ideas.
In terms of impact on students, we've noticed that students are just naturally interested in their learning and therefore they're more engaged. They display on-task focused behavior. Students begin to transfer their learning outside of the classroom, taking things that we've talked about in class and bringing those questions to their home environment, for example, as well as students feeling safe to share their wonders and begin to take action.
So these are just some work samples from my grade 3 classroom. I have a daily attendance question that's posted on the board, and since I've started that, students have started coming up with their own questions. I have a Wonder Wednesday where students write down questions that they're curious about, and we look at them every Wednesday and try and come up with our own answers before we start doing our own research to answer the question. As a class, we came up with a book based on one of the Wonder questions. If penguins have wings, why can't they fly? And this has been linked to my nonfiction reading unit where we've been looking at features of nonfiction texts. So like I said, we have Wonder Wednesday. There are some samples of questions that students have asked that we've looked at every week.
In terms of impact on teachers, we've noticed that teachers within our school are becoming more confident in promoting self-directed learning where there might have been more hesitation in the past. Teachers are also becoming more reflective. What went well? What can be done the next time around? So asking these questions help to ultimately improve us as educators.